Travis Wells.
Hello and welcome to Castle's Corner. I'm, of course, Coach Castle. I'm bringing Travis Wells. Now, Travis Wells is coming off a successful win, but I'll let him tell you about it. Would you mind introducing yourself to the audience, Travis, the people who don't know you?
Yeah, Travis Wells here. Just got done winning my division at the Ronnie Coleman.
Fantastic. And congratulations. And we're going to find out even more later why that's so fantastic. But could you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yes, sir. So I live in Canyon Lake, Texas, in between San Antonio and Austin. I'm a vice president of an oil and gas company. Been bodybuilding for 3 years now, 2 competitively. I'm vegan, all sorts of good stuff you're going to break down in the show, I'm sure. I was doing Ninja Warrior and some other stuff cool before that. But yeah, here in Canyon Lake, Texas, training about to gain 40 pounds, the bulk, and try to kill my next show next year. So.
That's fabulous. The Ronnie Coleman show is a pretty big deal, by the way. I mean, I think everybody knows who Ronnie Coleman is who's listening to this, but it's a pretty big deal. And I mean, for me personally, just my personal opinion, you winning that vegan is, and by the way, in only 3 years, that's pretty incredible. I mean, I think that just really shows a lot of hard work, dedication, and you really must have done some serious learning about vegan nutrition. Let's start with that, I guess. Would you mind talking about like actual vegan nutrition, how you like get into as much detail as you want? How did you prepare for the competition? How did you decide how much protein? How do you decide bioavailability of proteins? I could keep going. I'll just jump in every now and again, I suppose, but please tell me. I'm so curious about this.
So it's very interesting. I'm in the oil and gas industry and I'm always on the road, and that's tough being vegan because there's not options anywhere. When I went vegan 5 years ago, I just got like a twig. I was like, oh, I got to eat lettuce, right? So I just got super skinny, malnutrition, malnourished, looked like. And I joined a program called veganfitness.com. One of the guys from Game Changers, Nimai Delgado, his program, and he taught people how to count macros. They calculate your macros based on your goal. You give them pretty much an aesthetic goal. And it wasn't for bodybuilding necessarily. It was more for like a sustainable life, but to do it vegan and be healthy. And he did a great job at it. Me being competitive, I said, man, I want to do something else with this because I was building muscle. I didn't look like a bodybuilder, but I could tell, I started building the frame. So I ended up getting a coach out of Chicago, where my girlfriend's from. Saw him online, reached out, and I was like, hey, man, like I need some help. He's a big old guy. And his name was Mr. Sir West on Instagram. But anyway, he
Mr. Sir West?
Mr. Sir West.
Mr. Sir West. Okay.
Yeah, dude's
too bad he's not a doctor too. Mr. Sir Dr. West.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's like a big old dude. We got the same vegan tattoo, right? We got it one day when we were in Chicago.
That's not gay at all. I'll leave that alone.
I know. I was like, man, should we? It was like, screw it, right? Yeah, you see that dude in person, you'd be like, yeah, cool, right? He's a big old dude.
Looks good on you. Yeah, it looks great on you.
Yeah, it looks great, dude. But anyway, and then contacted Doug too because I was super interested in what he was doing. But anyway, I did the Brig 20 this past year because the year before I competed at 138 pounds. Like at the time, I thought that was great. I was skin and bones and I had some vascularity. I was like, oh, flex, I'm good. I got 6th place, the Ronnie Coleman last year. All right.
Now, real quick, just out of curiosity, because so many people have like bad opinions about this, or they just don't understand. Your stage weight was 138. That was you shredded down. You probably lost some muscle at that point too, I imagine.
Yeah.
What was your before stage weight? Like, what was your walking around weight before you started cutting for the show?
My before weight was like 155. I was still
155.
super light. I didn't have a ton of muscle. Didn't really know what I was doing. I was just doing it. I said I want to compete in a show. I have no clue what I'm doing. I got this nutrition guy. He had a different philosophy than I have now. So we're still friends, but it's just different philosophy. And he was more of, hey, get as peeled as you can, he called it, and you'll be great. And that's what I did. And I was shredded, but I said, man, I need to figure out how to build muscle, and look right and stand next to these people. And I'm vegan. I just like everything
But
just falls off.
just the fact, I mean, hats off to the fact that you're stepping on stage. So you'd barely been training. I mean, you knew you weren't going to win. You know what I mean? You're I'm not going to win. But the fact you had the balls to get on there, only training for a year, vegan at 138 pounds, that's crazy to me. I don't even know if I would have had the balls for that. That's pretty crazy to me. That's I mean, it's fabulous. It's fabulous. But how old were you then for that show?
I was 33.
Oh,
I'm
33.
35.
Oh, you're kicking my ass. I'm 32. Sorry, I was thinking like me in my 20s getting on a stage at that age,
Yeah.
at that weight. Sorry, but anyway, sorry. Getting back to you. Sorry, I was very curious what you're walking around weight was the stage weight.
Yeah. Well, so at that show afterwards, I saw this dude in his mid 60s walking around. He looked like a freaking Greek statue. He had a sword, the medals, and was just older dude. Looked good. I'm like, what in the world is this dude doing? And I didn't talk to him, but my girlfriend sat next to his family and got to talking to them. And anyway, I reached out because she got their information. And I said, hey, man, like, what are you doing after the show? Because that's how my brain works. Like, if I see something, like, what
opportunity.
are you?
Yeah, opportunity. Yeah.
Super cool. Guy called me, took me under his wing. His name's Ed McGregor. He doesn't have a huge social presence. He should, but he's like,
smart man if he doesn't.
Yeah. He doesn't. Yeah. He's on there, but anyway, he said, "Hey, man, all I do is the Brig 20." I'm like, "What is that?" And he's like, "Look, if I'm gonna train you, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna read this book, and then you come back to me, and we're gonna work out. And you're never gonna put a bar on your back. You're never gonna lift anything above your head. Da 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 da. Everything in the book, right?"
He sounds like me, except I give him one of my books. But he sounds just like me, though. That's the same shit I say. So you're never gonna look at gyms again. You're gonna have complete disdain for personal trainers. You're never gonna, and you won't go back either. Yeah. So sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. And he's like, he's super hardcore. Like, dude's like, yeah. When we work out, he's like, good guy, like just like a drill sergeant. But I love it, right? Well, anyway, that's what I did. I followed the all the progression overload as far as all the Brig 20 stuff, But anyway, along the way, I reached out to Doug because I was like, this stuff is super interesting. I want to get his set of eyes too, because we all think different, right? Perception. And towards getting closer to my show, I started reaching out to Doug. He agreed with everything my coach was saying. So he's like, cool, just send me your pictures. And it was always, yeah, I agree. So long story short, sorry, I had to start from there to get to here. But to prepare for my show, vegan, roughly 200 grams of protein. That's what my normal is. I weigh 100, I walk around 165 pounds normally. I got up to 190. My carbs got all the way up to 600, and until I started shredding down. Proteins always in the 200s or above, usually. Fats 20% or whatever. I keep my fats 20 to 25%. So, anywhere between 50 and 70 grams. They got up higher when I was bulking. But getting ready for the show, shredding, my body loses so fast. My coach was having me eat pancakes 3 days out. Nobody believed it, but I just was super vascular. I was having to eat because we couldn't keep weight on me. And I don't know if it's because I'm vegan and I just eat whole food, plant-based. Nothing, I don't eat processed food. It's whole food, plant-based. And that is a lot of vegan food to get those nutrients.
Well, how about your sodium intake?
So
is it higher, I would imagine, yeah?
It's like maybe it's under 2,000, 2,000 milligrams or so.
You might do better. You might do better if you double that, actually.
Yeah. Think so?
I mean, if you want to get into it, we can, but most people actually respond better to higher, especially athletes respond better to higher amounts of salt. Think of it, again, not obviously not the same thing as creatine, but it'll give you the same kind of a minor boost that creatine will if you increase your salt. And you also, you can't eat too much salt. I mean, there's all this really bad old evidence that salt is horrible for you. But it's all been completely disproven. I mean, Stan Efferding is another guy who speaks very highly about the benefits of salt. I mean, it's like 10 times more effective than metformin, for example. I mean, I could get into it, but I'll leave it alone.
That's cool.
And what do you get your sources from, though? Your protein sources, your carb and fat sources primarily, what are they?
So my total calories, like I said, were like 2,400 getting ready. And for protein, I ate a block of tofu a day. That's 70 grams of protein. Two, like I say cans because I'm on the road a lot. I manage oil and gas company. I have 2 real estate companies. I'm going, and there's no excuse because I'm gonna hit my macros, right? So all the food that I eat is in a cooler. It's frozen. It's in cans. People hate that. Whatever. I warm it up at a gas station. Whatever, right? It's gonna happen.
You gotta make it happen. There is no excuse.
Right. So 1 block of tofu, 70 grams of protein. 2 cans of lentils is 50 grams of protein. A can of garbanzo beans is 25 grams of protein. All these have a lot of, besides the tofu, it's very low carb. Everything else has high carbs as well. So my carb count's getting up too, right? And I eat a ton of beans, a ton of lentils. Lentils is my favorite thing for being a vegan. I eat pasta out of it, whatever. I don't care. You know, I don't care. Like I'm not big on, I have to have this certain type of meal. I don't care. I'm straight eating for fuel.
How vegan, I mean, I always hate asking this, but like how vegan are you? Do you eat eggs? Do you eat fish? Do you eat things like this sometimes?
I don't. And people look at me like I'm crazy, but I'm not vegan for bodybuilding, right? I'm not thinking, hey, this is a superior diet. I do it. I'm straight up just because it's an ethical thing for me. You know, I don't care, judge, whatever, but just my personal feelings. It's not, I hate when people say, I'm vegan and I'm getting a better body. That's not true. Any diet that you're strict on, I believe that, and you figure out how your body works, you can get whatever you want.
What's your just out of curiosity, your ethical take? So why do you consider it more ethical? I mean, I'm not going to debate you on this. I love debating people. I don't want to make it one of those things. I'm just curious, like what's your take?
I hate saying more ethical because I don't.
Well, ethical, I always apologize. That's bad wording on my part. Ethical is ethical. We all know what ethical is.
Yeah,
we all have that little voice.
Yeah, personally, I grew up raising animals on a farm ranch type setting. So I obviously didn't grow up vegan, right? And things that happen to animals and how food's processed and how they're treated. And I just don't like to particularly partake in that. I've been there firsthand. I've seen it. And I just, I figure, hey, maybe I'm not making a huge difference, but to me, I like, I feel better. Right.
No, but that's for you. I understand that. That's for you. And I get I do things that other people are like, oh my God, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, listen, for me, this is fine. I think this is fine. If you don't think that's fine, we have a difference of opinion, but this does not go against my moral code. Now, I get what you're saying about the animals, by the way. I mean, most people don't know this. They could probably guess it about me, but I'm a massive animal lover. I've had all kinds of animals, everything from crocodiles to emus to deer to baby raccoons, dogs, pigs, horses, you name it. Upstate New York, primarily, but a lot of my life, and I've lived a lot of other places. So I mean, I've had everything, and these damn things just keep getting hurt around me. I think it's gonna leave it, Now I see a hurt person, I'm like, 911, I'll walk away. You're there. But an animal, I'll go, come on, baby, I love you.
I'm the same way, man.
What's your take on hunters then? Vegan hunters. So there's I mean, you probably know about this, but there are people who are all vegan except when they hunt, shoot, and kill it themselves, and then they take it home. What's your take on those people? Do you? Something you would do or no? I'm curious.
I wouldn't personally. So here's a fun fact: is I grew up in South Texas. It's like I don't know it's like Mecca of hunting, right? People fly down there for these expensive hunts. I grew up around all of this stuff, and I've never been able to pull the trigger. Before I was vegan, my buddies were the most redneck people you meet, and they would make fun of me. I could never pull the trigger. I've been hunting.
Dude, more respect I mean, not more respect for not pulling the trigger, but more respect for standing your ground when being surrounded with that kind of fucking pressure, because that's serious pressure. I mean, I would compare that to back when I was a chef in kitchens, and I was 100% clean of alcohol, drugs, everything for 16 years. Oh, sorry, 14 years as a chef. 2 years I was fucking super high all the time. But 14 years as a chef, I did nothing. And every one of my cooks for 14 years, come on, boss, have a drink. Have, well, it's the same thing. You really want to, a lot of pressure, but it's, I think, so much better to be true to yourself. You know what I mean? So respect for that, man. Seriously, that's got to be a lot of pressure in that kind of a situation.
Yeah, for real. Well, even with work, I'm an oil and gas guy. So the big thing in my industry is like, hey, take your customers to hunt or go hunting. Everyone that knows me knows, hey, don't even ask Travis. Don't bring it up. He's not going to go. You're wasting your time. And I like that. We don't even have to. We don't have to discuss. It's cool. It's cool for people to know you that know you stand for whatever you believe in, whatever that is, your truth. So
you get more. I mean, I say this all the time on my show, but I mean, you get more respect when you actually stand your ground on something. You stand your ground on an issue. It's just most people don't have spines, and they fold for anything. And it's absurd to me.
Yeah.
But anyway, so let's we talk protein sources and such, I guess, but what's some go-to meals for you? Like, what do you like to eat? Like, how do you eat? How many meals a day? Like, is there a preference there?
Yeah, like 3 to 4 meals a day. Obviously that's not when I'm bulking. Anybody that's bulking, you're eating until you're nauseous regardless, right? You're eating
well, I'm going to dig into this in just a second, but I completely disagree with the concept of bulking. Actually, I really do. I mean, we'll talk about it in a second, but I really disagree with the concept of bulking.
I'm interested in hearing it.
Yeah, well, carry on though. Carry on. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, so I like to work out fasted. Just personally, I feel better. I've tried every which way. I feel like I have more energy. I feel like, I don't know if it's true or not, right? But to me, my body, if it's digesting, it's not doing everything else, it should be doing in my mind while I'm working out. So maybe that has something to do with it. Anyway, workout fasted. Whenever I'm done, I usually eat 1,000-calorie meal, pretty balanced between carb. Everything I eat has 2 vegetables. That's just personal. I like to get all that in. 2 veggies, protein, and carbs are balanced. Like I said, people think it's crazy. I don't really eat for these awesome meals. I just make sure it's balanced. Go-to meal, usually some tofu, lentils, rice, beans, veggies. Any kind of tortilla that's maybe like a cassava flour or almond. Like to make tacos out of those. I don't really eat anything processed. Any of the unhealthy vegan processed stuff.
I mean, I know you said you're on the road a lot, but what's your preference in regards to like cooking? I guess. I mean, I imagine by necessity microwave a lot. But let's just say you are home. Do you like flat top, air fryer, cooking yourself, sautéing in a pan? Like, do you like to actually cook? I mean, like what do you do?
Buddha bowls, right? That's
yeah,
it. Yeah, everybody's like, oh, you make Buddha bowls. I like to cook in a big pot with a ton of what we just talked about: garbanzo beans, kidney beans, veggies, tofus, lentils. Lentil pasta is my favorite. Super high in protein, high in carbs. I could get 2 meals in one, and I still feel great. Throw some broccoli in it.
You ever meal prep your Buddha bowls? Like, do you prep them ahead, like in to-goes, and take them with you to microwave? Is that a big one for you?
I tried, and I hate it. I hate meal prep.
Not for everybody, that's for sure. I'm not a fan unless by necessity, because I'm not like pushing myself here, but most of you guys know this who are following. I'm in the process of writing a new book. It's a recipe book for me. It's a recipe book for meal prep, bodybuilders, etc. But not only is it going to explain the best way to do things, but also how to meal prep simply. And I mean, I just take a different approach because I'm a chef, a bodybuilder, these things, but I also know a lot about the chemistry aspect of it. But I also really don't have fucking time. So all of my meals that I put in this book are things I've been eating for years that take 2 to 5 minutes to make. Like that, and it's not like a shit meal, like it's a delicious meal, you know what I mean? So there's never any reason, I think, for people to say there's no time, I don't have, whatever. And even when it comes to meal prep, I'm not a big fan of meal prep, like prepping days out, you know what I mean? I do like prepping the next day. I like that. But prepping the next day for me might just be like literally putting the things in the refrigerator. It might not be like prepping, that what most people would consider prepping. And it's because I like fresh stuff. Even if it's like me making a sandwich in a minute as opposed to me packing it, I would rather make the sandwich, like I imagine it's the same thing. It's a taste, it's a flavor. I don't know, it's just way better.
Sriracha sauce is my homie. That's my favorite. Sriracha goes on everything. I don't care what I'm eating, sriracha's going on it.
So. Sound like my girl. God, she's Thai, and common complaint. America, we don't have spicy enough sauces. She uses sriracha sauce like I use ketchup. She doesn't even like. We had pizza the other night, and it's just I couldn't see her pizza. She didn't even taste it. She just immediately, and I'm like, do you want to taste the pizza? You're not that bad, are you?
Yeah. That's awesome.
But anyways, well, let's let's talk cutting and bulking real quick. So before I give you my take on it, why do you think cutting and bulking is a good idea? Like, why do you do it?
When I was 138 pounds, I wish I had a picture in front of me right now to show you, but I was skin and bones on.
Send it to me and I'll put it on the screen if you want.
Okay, hang on real quick because I'm gonna
tell you why. Send it later when I'm editing. I'll put it on the screen. No worries. Okay.
All right. So, anyways, after that show, I asked for feedback from the judges, which I knew the feedback may be bigger, right? They said you need at least 20 pounds of muscle to even walk on this stage. I said, cool. So anyway, to do that, common conceptions, you got to bulk, right? Not saying that's right, but so anyway, I ate. I was eating 5,000 calories a day. I ate. I got up to 190 pounds. I was working out like crazy on the Brig 20. I shredded down this time. I walked on stage at 153 at 5% body fat, and I killed it in my opinion doing that route. What I would have done different is I wouldn't have just jumped in and straight just started power eating. I don't believe in that anymore. I think it should be a super gradual climb in nutrition, which I'm doing now because I learned the hard way before, in my opinion. And I'm actually going to get my body tested this week and see how these extra calories did with the recomposition. And I want to track it that way. Like how much body fat am I putting on with these additional calories? How much lean mass? How much? So when I'm talking bulking now, I'm just talking, hey, I want to make sure, because I'm still losing weight and I'm eating 3,000 calories a day right now. And I was 5% last week and I'm lighter now.
You're reversing out of it though, yeah.
Right. So I'm just slowly, 300 calories at a time, seeing how my body reacts. So when I say bulking, it's not in the traditional sense like I did last year.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that, but let me give you, I guess, a as simplified version as I can. I mean, as you know, it's actually pretty complex, but I'll try to simplify, and I'm also going to try to be super clear. Let me know if you want clarification. So the common concept of bulking and cutting, just to get that out of the way, is for a period of time, you eat a surplus amount of calories, usually something like 300 to 500 above your maintenance. And you have to know your maintenance, obviously, for this to work. So you eat 300 to 500 above your maintenance, and this is for muscle building sake. So hopefully by this definition, you'll gain something like, give or take 1 to 5 pounds in a month. I mean, it kind of depends on the individual, but something like that. And then after a period of time of doing this, you then reduce the calories and you slowly cut it back off until you are lean again, revealing the muscle you have now grown. So this is kind of bulking and cutting sounds good to you?
Yep.
Okay, just to verify, I mean, because people have different opinions. So that's the standard definition. Now, when I say bulking and cutting, that's what I'm talking about. When I say the definition of bulking and cutting. Now, I myself did this and I took this route myself. The issue is that your body doesn't really care. Now, the primary reason, well, let me explain that. So what I mean is, as long as your body has adequate protein to sustain itself and to repair the damage, and then just a little bit more than that for the purposes of muscle growth, a little bit really is about 20 to 30 grams. I'm not talking massive numbers here. 20 to 30 grams. If you're on steroids, I would say up to 60 grams because depending on the steroids, of course, but it increases protein synthesization in the body, et cetera. You guys all know this. But anyways, so long story short, extra calories beyond that, any carbohydrates you eat or fat, those extra calories are simply being stored as fat. They're not suddenly going to be magically transported to the growth of muscle tissue. The reason people believe that they gain all of this muscle when they're bulking and cutting is because they actually get physically heavier. They get substantially fatter. They also build muscle, of course, yeah, but they are also building muscle at the same rate as somebody else who does something else, which I'm going to talk to in a second, which is just main gaining. Now, Coach Greg Doucette coined this term. I've been talking about it a long time, but I like his term better, so I'll just leave alone what I used to say. But essentially, you do exactly maintenance calories, you increase the protein, and you increase either the fat or the carbs, whatever, about 100 calories. And if you do that, you stay lean year-round, literally about whatever, give or take somewhere between 14, 18% body fat. And then when it comes time to show, you just diet for like 4 weeks, 6 weeks, you take it all off and you're ready to show. There's no actual difference. There's been a lot of studies on this. There's no actual difference in the muscle growth. The reason people believe this is because when they have all that extra weight on them, when they're doing movements like squats and deadlifts and these kind of movements, because they have more physical weight on their body, they can actually lift more weight. But again, remember, when I say this, they're not doing biomechanically correct exercises. If they were, they wouldn't be able to lift more weight just because their arm was heavier, for example. But because your entire body is heavier, you can handle more squat weight, more deadlift weight, more bench press weight because of your actual weight of your body. You're not like building more muscle because you're fat. And then here's the issue. When you do that and you cut yourself off, this is basically yo-yo dieting for bodybuilders. And it's just as unhealthy as yo-yo dieting for the average person who just diets for 6 months, gets skinny, gets fat again. It's just as unhealthy. Your body doesn't know the difference between muscle and fat. It's just mass it cares about. So again, that's why I say I got to be real clear, because I'm still talking about being in a caloric surplus, but the caloric surplus is created by protein, which is a higher thermogenic effect. The protein has the amino acids and stuff you need for muscle building, which is the priority in your body. Protein does not get stored as fat. Fat does not get stored as fat. Carbs do, but again, you only need a surplus of 100 to maybe 200 calories. The reason most people bulk is because of the pre-stated reasons, or they're just lazy and they don't understand lifestyle and they just want to eat like an animal. I mean, generally, that's the general case of it. Not always. Some people really believe that's the way to do it. But I've also seen these people, and I've seen what happens to their skin after 5 or 10 years of this yo-yo dieting. They're bulking. I've seen what it does to their bodies. They don't think long term. They think 2 years. They think next year. They don't think, what am I going to be like in 10 years? Oh, am I going to look like Ronnie Coleman? Well, probably a bad idea. Maybe I should not do that. But so anyways, that's my very extremely simplified version of bulking and cutting versus what I want to do and what I do every year. And every year I build considerable muscle. The past 7 years, I've only done biomechanic exercises. I only main gain. I don't take drugs or any other shit. Well, I always say occasionally. I have occasionally, but not for a while. So just to be clear about all that, everybody. But anyway, so what do you think about that? You have thoughts? You want? I can clarify points on that, obviously, if you want.
I love it. So I haven't heard it, to be honest with you. And what's funny is I'm doing what you're saying right now intuitively. I don't have a nutrition coach anymore. And just because, like I said, we saw a little different, and I don't believe in eating like a horse like that, to do that, because I saw whenever I was the last 3 months out of my show, I was lean already. It didn't take me but 3 weeks to get down to 5% body fat. Mm-hmm. No diet, nothing like that. Like, I just cut my calories. I watched them, I cut them, and felt my body. But anyways, I completely agree. That's why I said I want to monitor as I go now. So I like that you said that. And now my protein's at 230. I was at 190 and I bumped it up to 230. My carbs are at 300. My fats are at 55 right now. And so.
Now, I don't want to tell you your business. Obviously, you know what you're about. But in regards to bioavailability, do you know the differences between bioavailability in a vegan diet and on a standard meat carnivore-based diet?
I don't. And the reason, two reasons. I'm not by any means an expert in this, right? I've only been doing it a few years.
No worries.
For two, I didn't bodybuild on a carnivore diet. So I only know how my body reacts on this vegan diet, actually counting my macros. The only reference I have is I've had several people reach out and ask me, I guess plant-based is kind of getting trendy or whatever, right? And they're like, hey, how do you do that? Da, da, da. So I'll kind of just say, well, I don't do anything fancy. This is what I eat. Try it. And by the way, let me know how you feel coming from a carnivore diet to vegan. And they're like, man, I'm always hungry. So that's very interesting. It's the same macros, but
Mhm.
they're always hungry.
Mhm.
So besides that, I'm sure that has something to do with what you're saying.
Well,
With what you're saying.
just the very simple aspect of it, and I mean, I'm not gonna be bashing anybody here, but I mostly completely disagree with just about everything that was stated in the Game Changer movie. I mean, it's already been discredited and debunked by I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of people who know nutrition better than I do. But I watched it because a client recommended I do, and I was cringing the whole movie. They were citing extremely outdated studies which were poorly performed. They were outright lying at portions of the movie. And I mean, I'll spare you the details. If you're curious, just dig into it. Again, I'm not trying to attack anybody here. It is what it is. And yeah, there's plenty of evidence to back this up. It's not just my opinion. So one of the things that they talk about that I really took a lot of issue with was their comparison of legumes, actually. And I know you like legumes. Now, don't get me wrong. Legumes are great. I like legumes. Legumes are high protein, but they are not what they said that they are. And this is where I had a problem because they're literally just kind of hiding the truth from you by pretending to show you the truth. So they made the comparison of 1 cup of legumes compared to an 8-ounce beef tenderloin, and that the protein was the same. And they said if you eat this, it is just the same as eating the steak, and that is it is completely wildly inaccurate. So I don't remember the actual numbers. I mean, someone I'm sure will correct me on this, but it was something like the steak is 40 grams of protein. The cup of legumes is 40 grams of protein. Your body doesn't know the difference. Protein is protein. You eat this, you eat the guy, blank, blank, blank. This is much cleaner for your body, etc. Well, the first thing it didn't address was amino acids. The second thing it didn't address was bioavailability. And the third thing it didn't address was the microbiome. So, I mean, I'm not doing a breakdown here, but suffice to say that the protein is not equal. And that's because in regards to steak, you get all of the protein completely absorbed 100% by your body, as well as a lot of amino acids that your body really desperately needs. I mean, I'm not going to get into it, but like leucine and all those things. And so that's good. Now, the cup of legumes, on the other hand, they said it was 40 grams of protein. When your body digests that, it's more like 18 grams. It's not 40, it's more like 18. So if you're a bodybuilder and you're competing and you think I'm getting 40 grams every time I eat this, and you're actually only getting like 20 grams, that's a big problem. I mean, you know, that's a big problem. And again, the microbiome, they don't address that. They don't address the microbiome is basically, I assume it's just your intestines basically, and the bacteria inside of them, both the good, excuse me, and the bad. And it reacts completely differently to meat as it compared to vegetables. I'll just leave it at that, but it reacts completely differently to the human body, as well as the processing of the actual amino acids and protein themselves. But there was a lot of issues with it in itself. So that's why I'm just so curious, and I'm so amazed with the fact that you were able to win the show on a vegan diet the way that you did with such a great physique. And I mean, I'll show pictures of you, of course, but you look great. You have great physique. But the thing is about the bioavailability, and again, you can totally do it on a vegan diet, obviously. It's considerably easier with protein because of previously mentioned reasons, basically, as well as many others. But in regards to the vegan diet, you might even want to increase your protein even more. You might even have better results just by increasing it even more. I mean, I don't know for sure, but it's definitely something to try out.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyways,
what's funny. So yeah, I don't agree, disagree. So yeah, I don't agree, disagree. I'm not studied in that. Like I said, mine's not I think you're gonna have the best body for being vegan. It's more the ethical thing, and I'm just more I think I'm a scientist at heart too. I think that's why I'm really attracted to these things as far as the biomechanics and everything being taught. I love how things work, and it kind of is what it is, as far as the workouts, the movements being super isolated. As far as diet, I'm able to watch my body, listen to my body. Am I hungry? Am I growing? Am I not growing? What do I need? Obviously, I need protein. I mean, and it's more of kind of judging that way, to be honest with you.
That's smart though. That's you listening to your body. I mean, that's kind of the height of bodybuilding. is being able to literally listen to your body and like, well, I really think I should be eating now, but I'm not supposed to be eating, but I mean, maybe I should be eating. Things like that. It doesn't make sense to somebody else. It might not make sense on paper, but it works for you. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes that is the case. How did your when you no we briefly touched on it, but when you switched over from doing all of your, you know, let's just say conventional training, and you started doing correct biomechanical principles, I'm sorry, I forgot who the coach was.
Ed
What was
McGregor.
his? Sorry,
Ed,
Ian McGregor.
Ed
Ed,
McGregor.
sorry,
Yeah.
Ed McGregor. I'm gonna look him up. Ed
I'll send
McGregor.
you a picture of him too. He's a jacked mid
Yeah,
60s.
please do. Yeah, please do. I love hearing anybody who actually likes biomechanics. There's so few of us.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'll see if I can get him on the podcast. Who knows?
Yeah, that'd be
But
great.
no, I'm sure he'd be fun to chat. We'll talk all about you when you're not here. But what were you thinking when you were transitioning? Because I think most people, I mean, I don't know how many clients I've had who've gone through this. Gym bros, they come to me, you know, and I'm like, well, actually, you know, we're going to get into it later on and I'll be educating you. But for right now, forget everything you think you know. So when this happened to you, what was your thought process? And are you more confident now that you're doing the right thing, and why?
So I'm 1,000% confident I'm doing the right thing because I grew 20 pounds of muscle in 1 year and I took no steroids. That's unheard of, right? And all I did were these movements, super focused, like super concentrated, as good as I can. I'm sure I could even improve those movements, which I'm excited about. I'm digging even deeper into them. Just like before we went live, you were telling me, you know, some pointers, right? Those certain things are awesome. I think you have to be an open-minded individual to be successful at anything. You know, you can't learn anything if you know everything, right? So
100%. And we've
yes,
all been there, by the way. All y'all listening, and you know who you are. You think you know everything. You motherfuckers are so wrong. This is such a big world. Some things are consistent, like physics. One of the reasons we can say we're 1,000% confident about this is because physics don't change. The laws of mechanical physics, the laws of biochemistry. If they did, you know, doctors would be out of the job because every human would be treated as an individual alien. We're not. Medicine applies to us all equally, pretty much. So it's the same thing with mechanical physics. I mean, it is what it is. A longer lever will magnify the force more. A perpendicular lever, I mean, I'll spare you. Y'all know, you guys all know. Sorry, but anyway, so get back to your training. Sorry.
so I was excited, you know, it was something different and I saw dramatic results, you know, and I kept seeing dramatic results. And, you know, I had mentioned earlier, I think before we went live, I have scoliosis, which means my spine's crooked. Well, I used to squat heavy, you know, and one day I couldn't get out of bed. They had to literally get my spine unstuck. And I said, man, that was a big wake up call. I said, why do I want to put all this weight on my back? It makes no sense. Even though everybody's telling me to, it makes no sense. I'm not doing it. Got to figure out an alternative because I'm going to work out, you know, and the sissy
Did you,
squats, my
did you
legs.
ever have, just out of curiosity, but did you ever have Doug or anybody explain to you the actual like load differences when doing squats with your back versus, you know, like leg extensions or sissy squats or something?
Ed did. Ed went into the
Okay.
50s. He's a Doug Brignoli like nerd, right? This guy knows this book
I
back
like
and
him
forth.
already. Yeah, I like him
Yeah, you're
already.
gonna love him. Yeah, you're gonna love this guy. Like he told, you know, anyway, he sold me on this stuff. And I mean, like I said, it was awesome. And I've been, you know, I'm looking forward to learning more and more about it. So yeah, sissy squats grew my legs. My legs are crazy. That was my best selling point on stage, was my legs. All I did was sissy squats and leg extensions. I'll hold a plate when I do sissy squats, just because I get the full stretch. I can come up super slow, but I mean, for the most part, half of my sets are body weight, and I'll work up.
Now, when you're
And
doing sorry to interrupt, when you're doing your sissy squats, you're holding the plate. You don't go parallel with the ground, do you? Your torso while
yeah,
holding the plate?
yeah,
Oh, damn, you strong, son. I mean, I can do that, but I can only start doing that this year. Like, damn.
I've got
Whew,
videos on my Instagram, and
it's hard. That's
they're
hard.
Doug approved. He was like,
What?
"Holy crap, my
Well,
legs are big."
you're lighter than me, though. You
Yeah,
cheater.
yeah, no, man, but I remember doing the first one. I was like, "What in the world did I get into?" There was no weight that I used to put on because I used to squat heavy. I was like, "This is a whole new ball game." I couldn't even do one.
Mhm. Actually one time that actually triggers a memory I don't even remember remembering. I was at a 24-hour fitness, and this was right after I had spoken to Doug for the first time. This was a long time ago. And I had just had a phone call with him. He was nice enough to talk to some fucking nobody. This is Doug. He's so, he's so nice. And I was asking him because I love squatting and deadlifting. It's like my bread and butter. I was known for being a freakish deadlifter. I was 145 pounds. I was deadlifting 600. I was squatting over 400 and shit. And so I was known for it. And I loved it because, you get all the recognition as being the biggest, all these stupid things. And so I asked Doug, and he's like, no, you really shouldn't do the squat, and he explained it to me. And at the time, you hear it and you're like, okay, yeah, okay. And he told me, try doing a sissy squat. And I said, okay. So I YouTube, what is the sissy squat? I didn't even know what it was. Like, it just sounded like, what? Sounded like, what? So I YouTubed what it was, and I went to the gym, and I started with my squats. And like, I'm always a fuckwit, so I would start with 2 plates on each side, and that would be my warm up. I'd do a couple reps, I'd put another, and so I'm doing that. I put the 2 plates on. I said, let me just do this sissy squat, because I can, I'm like looking around, and I'm like, people can think it's my warm up, and I'm like, so I go over and I set myself up so I can do the sissy squat, and I go down and I come up, I'm like, oh, and I did it again. I'm like, why is it so hard? This is a stupid exercise. And I went back to doing my squats because I didn't like it. And then like 3 weeks later, I remember thinking to myself, because I had got to that part in the book about the squatting and stuff. And I'm like, oh, well, that's why I didn't like it, because it was actually really hard and I was just weaker than I thought I was. That's why. But this is exactly the point I'm making. Is I think the reason you don't see people doing sissy squats, the reason you hear people like Mark Bell and Henry Ramrod and these morons who don't know biomechanics and shit, they talk about this sissy squat like, what a stupid exercise that is, how ridiculous. But if they see Tom Platz doing it, that's got to be one of the best quad exercises I've ever seen, is the sissy squat. But then why there's no videos of them doing it? How come they don't have their athletes doing it? Why don't they talk about it? Why are their athletes always doing squats with 400-pound plates for the photo shoots? Why is this? Ego. It's entirely ego-based, and this now. And there's no way you could be doing those kind of weights with scoliosis. So when you started doing the sissy squats, what was the difference in your actual back? Because I hope you also started fixing that in itself, yeah? So not to stop squats, but addressing the problem directly, yeah?
Right. Whenever I obviously got my back stuck, they got it undone. I got on a plane at a really good chiro, and they've been working on me since. I literally used to walk around back pain. And by the way, I never knew I had scoliosis till that happened.
Yeah. That happens a lot, actually.
Yeah. But anyways, I haven't had back pain, and I'm not just, hey, I haven't, this isn't like an infomercial or anything, but I literally like very rarely have had any back pain. After my show, I did, because I was rearing back into the crowd, right? And I wanted to show them my back. But besides that, very, very rarely do I have back pain anymore. So
this is one of those interesting things. I mean, you might not know this, and I don't think I've ever spoken about this here before, but how, like, you see my guy Jose over there is a skeleton I got? I get these skeletons at the doctor's office, and you've seen the models and stuff, and the spine is always, got that curve and everything else like that. It always looks perfect. It's straight. It's beautiful. Here's the thing. This is not actually how most humans are shaped. Most humans do not actually have a perfect spine. A lot of people have spines that are crooked and curved in really freaking weird ways. They might be compressed or compacted. They might be completely fused together, and people can live their entire lives completely unaware that their spine is like a twisted up bread tie. They have no idea it looks like that. And the really interesting thing is that's actually perfectly fine and healthy in a lot of cases. But in a lot of cases, it's actually an underlying condition which no one has noticed, and is actually causing significant pain in other areas of the body. So that's why I say it's actually really common that some people will have these crazy problems with their back and be completely unaware of it. They'll go to sleep, and then the next day they'll wake up and they'll be, not to laugh at you, sorry, but I can only imagine. It's like, is this a nightmare? Am I sleeping? Is the old lady sitting on my chest? What's happening here? That must have been horrifying, dude.
Oh yeah,
what was the first thing you did? What did you do?
I was in Oklahoma City. I was visiting some customers for oil and gas. I was in a hotel room on the 4th floor.
You weren't even home? Fuck.
I squatted the day before. I crawled to the elevator. I probably look crazy. I rolled out of bed, crawled to the elevator, crawled to my truck. Literally, I probably looked crazy. Made it to a Cairo. Yeah.
Fuck.
I was like,
Fuck.
what is going on? They're like,
Man.
they fixed me up.
That's so bad.
Yeah.
That's so bad.
So that's the last time I put a bar on my back.
Yeah, well, I don't blame you. There's no reason for it. Do you even use barbells at all? I haven't used a barbell in years. It's been
No.
a long time.
I
I use them to demonstrate what not to do, and that's about it.
No, and even the decline chest press, that's been a game changer.
Use cables or dumbbells when you do that one? Which one you
Dumbbells.
prefer for dumbbells? I like cables better because I can sit upright. It's just more comfortable for me.
Yeah.
When you do the dumbbells, how do you keep your shoulders from sliding too far back? You just kind of focus on keeping them on the bench?
Yeah, so I mean, used to like ego, right? You want to get as heavy as everything.
Yeah, but you now that's a horrible idea.
Right. So really, in my mind, I'm just really focusing on coming down and that pause, right? Whenever I stop here. So I guess I'm thinking about the pause, being able to make the pause at the right point and then come up. That keeps me focused. I'm always thinking about coming down and thinking about the pause. And then, hey, that's where I'm making this. And everybody thinks it's only working your lower chest. Everybody I ever comes by, you're not doing any incline. You're not doing. No, I'm not. Just leave me alone.
I don't know if you've heard Doug or you have an explanation for this, but I feel I have to have ammo with me everywhere I go. I'm constantly correcting and debating people left and right because I just, as you all know, I don't like idiots. I don't like liars. I don't like charlatans. I don't like people that steal your money with no fucking knowledge. Yeah, y'all know. Anyways, I like to have an explanation ready for these people when they say things like, well, it only targets your lower chest. You say very simply, well, how do you flex your chest when you're posing? How do you flex your chest? Well, I go like this. Okay. Could you try doing a chest flex with an incline position for me? Let me know how that goes. So oh yeah, okay. I don't see your chest contracting at all. So then they'll go like this, and they'll go like, oh, see. I'm like, so you had to lower your arms to a decline angle. Is that what you're telling me? And it literally works every time because it forces them to think. It shows them that they're wrong. You get no contraction. None at an incline angle. You only get a medium contraction. Literally, you can see it literally, a medium contraction with a flat angle, and with a decline angle, you have a full contraction. So it's something you could, physically demonstrate. And if that doesn't work with the person, I mean, they're fucked. They're beyond hope. They're not going to listen to anything at that point. You know what I mean? And there's been a lot of people. I've done this exact demonstration, this exact explanation. I've shown them videos, anatomy, and then the next time I see them at the gym, guess what they're doing? It is what it is. There's idiots everywhere. You can't help them. But you've read the book. I know probably like a Bible back to front a few times. I think you said,
Yeah.
and I know a lot of my listeners, and I encourage you guys. I mean, buy Doug's book. I've said it quite a few times. If I say it, I mean, I do mean it. I mean, Doug's a friend of mine. He's been a mentor to me, but I'm not saying this to push his things. I mean, as good as it would be for him as a friend, I'm saying it because it's freaking amazing. And you're doing yourself a great disservice if you don't read it. Really, you are. And it's, what is it, $40 now? It's very cheap. It's very cheap. Anyway, it's very cheap. Buy the book. But as somebody who has read the book, what was, let's say, some of the most eye-opening things as you were reading it?
I just really like the comparisons that he has in there. I'm a picture guy, right? I'm a skimmer and I'm a picture guy. I like
Pictures
that,
help.
and I like that he was thoughtful. Him and whoever made, helped if he did himself, whatever. But I like that it's for every party. You can sit down and you could just digest every word, or you could skim it and you can look at the comparisons. You could look at what not to do. You could look at what to do. It tells you why. It tells you what to do. That's my favorite part. And I mean, these exercises, as you know, are super simple, right? It's just straight to the point, and that's what I like. So,
they're super simple, but some of them do tend to give, I mean, I could be a bad teacher, but at least some of my clients, they seem to have difficulties with at least the scapular retraction. A lot of people have no idea how to bring their shoulder blades together. They don't understand moving it around their torso and such. And the fact that, I mean, around their torso and such. And the fact that, I mean, your mid traps don't connect to your arms, you know, so you have to move your shoulder blades. So did you have difficulty learning the scapular retraction, for example?
Yes, I don't know how many times that I've been scolded on that one. And the biggest reason is, like I said, ego, right? You
Mhm.
always want to throw heavier weight. And every time I would throw, well, there's two things. When you're working out with somebody that knows what they're looking like, when I'm with my coach, you know, he's like, dude, you know, lighten the weight or whatever, right? You need to pull back this way, do this. So that always helps. Like you said, when you're with your clients, you can pinpoint, you know, what they're doing wrong. But when
It's
you're
real easy to see the problem if you're not the problem.
right, right. It's better, yeah. So, but heavier weights always been, you know, the reason I would do it wrong. So I started videoing myself,
Nice.
and I
Yep, that's
just,
my usual recommendation, actually.
yeah, video myself every time. I'm like, okay, look, I need to change this. I need, you know, so, and I'm
Have you
still,
ever done,
you know,
oh, sorry, have you ever done the body weight scapular retraction?
I
Or do you
haven't.
do just cables? Oh,
Yeah.
it's one, the reason I say it is because I've discovered over the years, I don't know if Doug teaches this one or not. I use it as a body weight scapular retraction. Essentially, you take a cable handle and you hook it to just like I mean, whatever, something, you know, but so you're essentially in the same position. So you hook it to a wall, so you're essentially in the same position like this.
Yeah.
And then you lean your torso from a vertical position, you lean backwards while keeping your arms at that angle. And then you literally just focus on bringing your torso through and forward by moving your shoulder blades. Now, this, for whatever reason, it seems to be the most effective way for me to teach my clients the scapular traction. Most of my clients are online clients. I only have a few in person I deal with because they're like, quadriplegic or they have issues or something. And my online clients, when it comes to learning it, I almost always exclusively nowadays have them learn it with body weight first. So you just, again, stand upright, T stance, bring yourself forward so that your arms are 45 degrees positioned on either side of your torso. Bend your arms to 90 degrees. Then you'll be grasping the handles, whatever they may be locked to. You can also just hold poles or something. It's not a big deal. And then just, maybe 3 to 5 inches, move your heels and your feet forward. Then you'll be leaning back ever so slightly. This is more than enough load for most people. Arch your back a little bit, as you know, arch your back a little bit, and then just really concentrate on taking your shoulder blades, bringing them together, and then around your torso without taking too much of a 90-degree bend out of your arms. It's very effective. I think it's because it's the body moving, like without independent movement. It's kind of moving together. Tends to teach people better. Maybe try it out. Let me know. I don't know, but it does seem to be very effective with teaching people. After they've learned it with this, then I'll have them do cables after that. But 9 times out of 10, I can start them with cables with 5 pounds, 10 pounds, no weight. And they just have a lot of difficulty grasping the concept of the rotating around the torso, it seems to be. And the oblique twist as well. I see most people performing the oblique twist incorrectly. They take themselves through an incorrect resistance curve, or they'll put themselves too forward or away from the resistance. Do you do the crunch and the twist, or do you pick one?
I do both.
Yeah, me too.
And so we all like what our best genetic traits are too, right?
We favor them, yeah.
Right. I have really good obliques naturally, so I love that. Love both those exercises. The lat pull-ins I really like because I have big lats, and the sissy squats obviously because I got big quads, right? So it's the things that need to be worked on that obviously are at the bottom of the totem pole and they should be at the top, But
well, the good thing is, and I've actually addressed this with several different people. I talked about it with Doug, I talked about it with Bill and with Jerry as well, is there's no way to like prioritize one muscle over another, other than not training your other muscles, basically. So the best thing you can do is train each muscle to the best of your abilities with the correct frequency. I presume you know the latest science about frequency if you're talking to Doug, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because he got on to me because I said, well, I wanted to grow my shoulders. And he's like, and I said, I'm hitting them, extra. And he's like, no.
That's a bad idea, yeah.
Yeah, and but you're always told, oh, work your weaknesses more, but I got set straight on that pretty quick.
Just a real quick unpacking, I guess. I'll just a quick summary of this. So when I say the correct frequency training, in my opinion, there's only 2 highly effective ways to grow muscle rapidly. Let's put it that way. One is high intensity till failure training. You perform 1 to 2 reps, that's it, with either rest pause training, infotonic training, or omni-contraction training till failure, hopefully somewhere between the 5 to 10 rep range. Okay, and then you don't hit that muscle again for 5 to 8 days, depending if you're on steroids or whatever. Just that's the depending factor in that case. In which case you can then target the muscle again. However, this frequency is kind of slow. It's not optimum in my opinion. Optimum frequency would be something which allows for more volume and also more frequency, which is what people like me and Doug and hopefully yourself as well are doing. What this is you target each muscle with the correct biomechanical exercise, exhausting the muscle, but stopping with 2 to 3 reps in reserve, doing 3 to 5 sets, and then targeting those muscle groups again 3 to 4 days later. So to keep it simple, say you do arm day, biceps, triceps, forearm flexor, forearm extensor, rear deltoid, lateral deltoid, anterior deltoid, and upper deltoid. Sorry, upper trap rather. That's your arm day, for example. Okay, well, you'll do 3 to 5 sets of all of those, stopping 2 to 3 reps short of failure. You will then train them if that's on a Monday. You'll then train them again either Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, depending if you are, let's say, natural or enhanced. So that would be optimum frequency training, just in a nutshell, guys, without really explaining it. That's in a nutshell. So I presume you do something similar to that with a rest day every now and again.
3 days on, 1 day off.
Yeah. I do myself. I do 3 day on, 1 day off, except just occasionally I just will skip my day off and keep on going if I'm feeling good. You know what I mean? Like if I don't feel fatigued during this, then I'll just go ahead and do it. But that's me. Anyway, everybody's a little bit different. I know some people, they got to do it every 5 days. It's just their recovery ability, could be their age, their hormones, they're not sleeping enough, so they're not recovering enough. There's a lot of reasons. But this is why it's helpful to have a coach or somebody who knows shit, so they can just kind of point it out for you real quick. But I mean, it's just so helpful. It's like I always say, it's like when you're watching TV, you're watching a sitcom or something, and you see all the ridiculousness, you see all the stupidness, and you're laughing about it because you know how to fix it. But the people in there, they have no idea what's going on. They don't know that's all going on around them. They don't know how to fix it. So that's kind of the benefits of having a coach or somebody who knows what to do. But also, as I say, do your own damn research, because you can't trust anybody. You just can't. I mean, well, you can trust me, but you don't fucking know that. So don't, obviously. So anyways, in regards to leg training, just out of curiosity, do you train your calves as well as your tibius anterior?
Yes, so I train calves, same thing on my 3 days on, 1 day off. Calves are, I don't know what day they are. I think they're day 2, So I'm training them essentially, twice a week.
Well, you're just cycling, right?
Yeah, I'm just cycling. I do the same, and people are like, oh, that's too monotonous and this. And I'm like, well, you're wanting to build muscle, right? What's the goal? To build muscle. I'd rather just build muscle,
Yeah, but, exactly.
If you want to go practice or play around, go play around. But I'm pretty focused. And
I don't understand those people go to the gym for an hour and a half. They like socialize and fuck around and stretch and watch TV and it's like, what? You don't have a fucking life? Like, what are you doing here?
My next goal, I'm gonna gain another 20 pounds. So my weight cap is 175. I competed at 153, and I killed it. So 20 pounds extra in muscle. People are like, oh, you can't do it. I'm gonna do it again. So next year, I'm gonna gain 20 pounds of muscle, and I'm gonna go compete at nationals. See how it goes.
Now, for the tibius anterior, do you prefer doing that with cables, or do you use like a dumbbell on your foot, or how do you do it?
So I've tried all different ways. I've tried the cable. I've tried the dumbbell. I kind of like the press. Like if I get on some sort of press, I've been doing it that way. But really, just body weight has been the most helpful for me.
Just real quick to clarify, so the calf is made up of the solaris muscle, which is basically just a tendon, and then the gastrocnemius, which is kind of the big bicep thing on the back of it. The tibius anterior is on the front, like the shin part, and you train that by lifting your foot up. So that's why I'm asking if you train that one, because most people don't. They're like, I don't care about that.
No, I don't.
Well, I mean, I'm not trying to just so you know what I'm talking about. It's just most people, they never think to train it. And the only reason I'm asking you is because I would recommend you do. I just like to kind of get these little bits out there. And it's because if you're training your calf hard, and I'll chat with you in a second about that, but if you're training your calf hard, it's going to create an imbalance in the front of your foot. So that's the muscle which is responsible for lifting your foot up. So what's going to happen is over time, that'll be basically it's lengthened considerably over time, losing its ability to contract rapidly and stuff. So in a few years, think when you're older, you're going to go upstairs and your foot's going to catch repeatedly. And well, you get the idea, I'm sure. Things like that'll become an issue.
Okay.
And it's really easy to
fancy words for calf muscles, man.
No, sorry. And again, I try not to do that. That's why I only did it briefly there for a second. Although I'm going to do it again. He did it briefly there for a second. Although I'm going to do it again. I tell a lie. I'm going to do it again here. So for your calf training, do you know about the, let's just call it the bounce reflex, where the tendon is responsible for most of the actual calf activation for rapid fire movement? So anything like running, jumping, hopping, jumping rope, anything like that. That's basically your solaris muscle working, which is basically your tendons. So you're not going to get a bigger calf training anything like that. So in order to train your calf, you have to have a complete stop at the bottom of the movement where your calf is completely stretched out. You have to stop for like a full second to 2 seconds to remove the bounce reflex so that it basically the spring goes away and you can train and contract just the muscle again. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what I was, there's a platform in my gym. That's funny. I mean, if you listen to your body too, right, you kind of feel these things. I don't know the vocabulary you're throwing out there, but I watch what's growing and what's not, and what I'm doing, what, you can see yourself if you're open-minded. And there's a machine. I don't use the machine, but there's a platform, and I make sure I'm extended all the way down. I hold it before I touch the floor. I come up all the way and I hold it. And my calf, I can't walk. When I'm done, I cannot walk when I do the right amount of reps. And that's how
you keep your knee pushed back. Well, you're using your body weight. You keep your knee pushed back, or you're sitting. So you're standing when you're doing this.
So I'm standing, but I'm holding myself forward.
Gotcha.
So I'm kind of like that, holding myself
leaning forward a little bit, and you're
right.
Yeah, I got
and so I'm down here, and like literally, I have to go sit down somewhere because I physically can't walk when I'm done. And I've noticed my calves just blow up. And
so real quick for you guys following. So he's basically just, he's doing a double-legged, I presume, standing calf raise. Yeah. Double-legged standing single calf raise. Are your feet pointed towards each other like this at all, or do you leave them like this?
So I've been doing all three. And I don't know if that's right, wrong, but I've been noticing different things happening. So I've been going like that. I've been going like that. And I've been going like that. And
it actually doesn't matter. I mean, just so you know, if you're looking for a maximum contraction, you want the line of your toe. You know how your toes slant? They don't like, they're not like this. They kind of slant down on your toe, like at a diagonal angle, the bones. So if you want the maximum contraction, you just want to line up that toe crease with whatever platform you're using. So your feet will be slightly, not dramatically, slightly angled inward. Oh, excuse me. And as far as the actual calf training, the thing about the foot, I mean, I'm sure you know this, but it can either be a class 3 lever or a class 1 lever, depending how you're using it. And on top of that, if you want to have correct length in the muscle so that passive insufficiency and active insufficiency don't take over, you actually have to have the leg straight in order to train your calf correctly. If it's bent, something called passive insufficiency occurs, or sorry, active insufficiency occurs, which is where the muscle is pre-shortened or pre-contracted before you begin the movement. So you're able to produce less force and actually contract it less. And if you're overly straightened with your pelvis bent, like some people do, like a donkey calf raise, that causes the exact opposite. Like some people do, like a donkey calf raise, that causes the exact opposite, where the muscle is overly lengthened. So you just want to be standing upright with your knees pushed backwards, doing exactly what you just said, which turns it into a class 1 lever. And with a class 1 lever, your body weight is, I mean, that's more than sufficient for your calves. I mean, people have been saying this for years before they understood. I mean, a classic example is Lee Priest. He only did his calves with body weight. He never did machines. He would just do, he called them pump sets. But I mean, he did correct sets with his calves, but he was just heavy, and he got heavier and heavier and heavier, which added load to his calves, basically. Just to clarify calf training, guys. I'd like to just get this shit in there. Sorry. Of course, everybody knows I have like 600 plus lectures on this stuff on YouTube if you want to get into a depth dive on it. But anyways, sorry. What's next? What's the next competition you're aiming for? Is it all the way next year, or is it coming up sometime soon?
So my goal is to gain 20 pounds of muscle. So whenever I do that, that's what I'm competing next.
Ah,
So
gotcha.
I don't know when that's going to be, but I'm going to track. Like I said, I'm going to track my nutrition to a T. Every week, I want to get these in-body scans. So funny, I don't know what your thoughts on are this, but I had an in-body scan. I had the one in the water. Doug recommended, and I had another one. Anyway, I compared all these different fat measurement scales, and the DEXA. I did the DEXA too,
I got you.
and these scans. And from the in body to the water to the DEXA, there was only a 1% body fat. I mean, that's a big
I was
difference,
gonna,
but there.
actually, that's not. I've done it myself and had everything up to a 14% difference. So that's,
Oh,
no, yeah, they're usually wildly different. I think you got lucky, I guess. Usually they're very different.
okay. Mine was
But the,
one.
I don't know what you're going to ask me, but I was going to say that the water DEXA scale is the best one, where you exhale all of your breath, you sink to the bottom. For those of you who don't know, sorry, you exhale all of the air from your lungs, you sink to the bottom of your tank, and then it measures basically. It's not entirely accurate, but your fat in your body. The reason I say it's not entirely accurate, because a lot of people don't know this, but you have fat everywhere, including around your organs, inside of your brain. I think 2% of your brain is made up of fat. I mean, things like this. So you have fat lots of places. It's not just your love handles, guys. And these things do measure them. However, most of the tests are wildly inaccurate. Like skin fold calibers, they're fairly accurate if the person using them has years of experience and they really know what they're doing. They can be pretty accurate. If it's somebody who's getting them for the first time, you have no idea what you're doing. If there's some trainer at the gym, they probably don't really know what they're doing. So I wouldn't recommend those. Any of those damn scales you step on, like the bathroom scales, that say they tell you your body fat percentage. I mean, they're not right. I mean, just so you guys know, that's not right. It's so wrong. I'm sorry, but some of these things that they're laughable. I've had clients come to me and they're like 45% body fat. They're like, well, my bathroom scale said I was 10%. I said, well, do you look like you're 10% to yourself? Do you think that's accurate? Are you delusional?
I guess point being is I'm just gonna be measuring on an in body just because it's free. Those other ones cost me like $200-300. So
I would say it's irrelevant though.
Yeah.
Again, it's my take personally, but I go by the mirror. I know it's said to death and everybody says it, but I mean, I don't track my body fat. Like at the moment, I'm getting ready for a photo shoot in a month, well, like 3 weeks now. I'm cutting pretty hard. I could care less, you know what I mean, what my body fat is. I don't care. I just care that I look really lean and shredded, but not too much for the photo shoot, because the whole point of this one is a recipe book photo shoot, so I can't like look anorexic. You know, I don't want to look like I'm going to step on a stage. I want to look like I have food.
My biggest deal is perception, right? Like you see yourself a certain way and not how everybody else sees you too. Like I said, when I competed at 138, I felt great. When I look back at those pictures, I was like, what in the
What's
world?
wrong with me? Yeah, what was wrong with me?
So my deal is I just want a way to measure outside of my emotion, my perception, and that's my only deal. Just some sort of anything. I'm not saying it's completely accurate or anything like that, but just something for measurement is all I mean. I'm not putting like my hand on on the Bible on it and saying this, but anyways.
I feel you. I think it's just because of the clients I typically have. I'm not concerned with getting them down to 5%. If I was, I would be a bit more concerned with that. But even for a bodybuilding competition, I wouldn't care what your fat percentage is. I would care that we're making progress, and I would judge that by body measurements. I would judge it by it's a breathing measurement you can take. I would judge it by pictures. I would judge it by your posing, how well you can control your abdominals, because you really, but you have to really practice posing with your abs. They're not like the other muscles on your body. The other muscles in your body, you don't want to sit there and like over pose. That doesn't help anything. I mean, so many people do that. I see them. It's hilarious. They're like turning beet red and they're like, I don't even know. They think it's going to help. Yeah, they think it's going to help. You're just exhausting yourself. Stop it. You're not lean enough. You fucked up your conditioning. That's not going to help. But your abs, you have to actually learn how to physically contract and control your abdominals through various poses, which actually the oblique twist, I don't know if you've noticed, but the oblique twist is a giant help I found in learning to control my abdominals during poses, because you have to brace with your abs the whole time while you're doing the twist. And if you kind of like focus on that, when you go to posing, you can do the same thing. At least for me, it's a very beneficial one. The oblique twist, by the way, I highly recommend everyone do that one, as well as the crunch. I know a lot of people don't care about their obliques. Please care about your obliques, because your spinal health is the same as your respiratory health and your postural health and a lot of other things. And it is directly connected with your ability to twist your spine and move your spine laterally. So yeah, you should do those, even if you half-ass them, even if you just do them like as a stretching. Like, you don't have to go hard. I don't care if you would sweat when you do these, but do the movement patterns themselves for your spinal health, guys. Just real quick tidbit for you. We got to start wrapping up. We've been chatting for a while, but I'm sorry.
So what's next? 20 pounds of muscle. I really want to do well at nationals whenever that happens. I only have a year, more than enough time, you know, and in my opinion, some people might say no, but anyways, clean diet, gain 20 pounds of muscle, go kill it at nationals. That's my next goal.
Nice. Well, let's try to wrap up with
That's my next goal.
Nice. Well, let's try to wrap up with two questions, I guess. And then if you don't mind, would you give us some of your, I guess, favorite tips? Because I always like hearing favorite tips. They're just always so different from person to person. It's pretty crazy. Don't give us the usual bullshit like eat more protein or any of that bullshit. Don't say that. Give me some real tips here. Shit that's like personally helped you. You know what I mean? But this lifestyle, you being a bodybuilder, again, we know it's a lifestyle. There's no other way to say it. If you don't like that word, too bad. You have to revolve your life around it. You can't any other way. But how much time do you think on a daily basis, like realistically, do you actually spend bodybuilding? Is it a massive amount of time, a little amount of time? Like, what do you think on a daily basis?
Whatever your normal time eating is, because I don't prep. I have my macros. We got these awesome apps on our phone, right? And you just scan it, and that doesn't take long. So however long it takes you to eat, but I count that as bodybuilding because you got to think about it. So let's say, 45 minutes every time you eat, prep, eat, whatever. Working out, hour and a half there and back. I don't know, 3 hours maybe, 4 hours.
Cardio, stretching.
I don't really do cardio. Everybody says that's crazy. I warm up on a Stairmaster for about 5 minutes, just because I like to. And I really want to do a ton of cardio. I probably should do more stretching. I need to, but I'm not currently. So I'm just being straight. I'm being straight.
No, I mean, please do. I'm not trying to tell you anything to do. The only reason I ask about that is, and I'm not going to tell you what to do by any means, but cardio is one of those misunderstood things. I mean, when I do cardio, when I have my clients do cardio, of course it's for fat burning, but the cardio they do is walking on a treadmill for like 30 minutes at an incline. They get off, they're not even barely sweating. And that's because I'm having them do it for the mobilization of the brown fat. The low intensity mobilizes the brown fat, and fat is only oxidized in the presence of oxygen. That's why it's called oxidation. So in order to actually burn fat efficiently, most people have to do cardio. So that's one really good reason. Another really good reason, and this is the one I'm going to tell you, I mean, I'm not telling you your business, but your heart is the most important muscle in your body, and your heart does not get adequately worked out from training and exercise. You have to do cardio to train your heart. It's the only way to train your heart is through cardio. And again, if it's the most important muscle in your body, if your heart shits the bed, your bicep doesn't matter. I mean, I don't think I have to explain that. I mean,
well, okay, so cardio outside the gym. I walk the dog about 5 times a day. We live in Canyon Lake. The roads are like this.
That's not so bad. All right.
Around our neighborhood is 3/4 of a mile, and we do that 3 to 4 times a day. But it's a walk with the dog, and it's like,
I would call that cardio. I would call that cardio. So you're getting some work. You're not just sitting on your ass all day. Yeah.
No. I can't sit in an office or in a. No, I'm always active, but in the gym, I'm not a cardio guy, but outside the gym, yeah, I'm always out doing something.
And the stretching thing, I should probably say this. I never mentioned this to you, but I mean, I prioritize education above all else. I really do. I mean, most of my clients, they'll call me, they'll contact me because I'm known as like the biomechanic guy or the respiratory guy or whatever, and I get these great results. And a lot of them are shocked when I'm like, okay, well, we're not going to talk exercise for like 3 weeks. We're going to talk lifestyle changes, your goal setting. Exercise for like 3 weeks. We're going to talk lifestyle changes, your goal setting. We're going to clean your house. We're going to They're like, what are you talking about? Well, I just want to exercise. I just want to work out. I'm like, that's the last fucking thing you need right now. Okay. You're here because I'm a coach. I'm not a fucking trainer. I know more than all the trainers put together. Okay. I'm a coach. Exercise is the last thing on your list. The first thing is correcting your nutrition, correcting your sleep, correcting your anxiety, your breathing patterns, all of these things. But the only way to get people to do this shit, and you should probably know this helping people, but the only way to get adults to do something is you have to explain to them why it's good for them and what's going to happen if they don't do it. So like in regards to the cardio, I mean, I just told you, in regards to the stretching, I didn't do any stretching ever for a really long time. I thought it was almost unnecessary because I got dynamic stretching during my exercise, so I was kind of like, well, why do I need to stretch? I started stretching when I started learning about biotensegrity, I almost said biomechanics, biotensegrity, and how the body actually is held together as a unit, and how even a single tiny little itty bitty thing like my pinky toe being out of line could drastically screw up my body. And I'm not exaggerating, by the way. I have a lot of clients who literally have all kinds of crazy problems, and it could be as simple as they have too fat of a wallet in one pocket and they're a truck driver, and that screws up their pelvis and their spine alignment. Could be as simple as their breathing pattern. Could be they're a vertical breather instead of a horizontal breather. Could be all of these little things that people do not think about. So I really focus on education, really understanding these things. And stretching, most people, when I say stretching, they think I mean like some kind of a weird yoga full body thing or whatever. The same thing when I say you have to start meditating. People think like old guy under a waterfall, fucking thing. I'm talking about 5 minutes sitting there focusing on your breath, because it improves your focus and some other things. I'm talking about stretching. I'm talking about what I do at night, 10 to 15 minutes. I personally have to stretch my psoas, my hamstrings, my glutes, my abs, and my erector spinae, and my neck. That's what I personally have to stretch because those are issues for me. I know they're problems that have been holding back, certain areas and developments and creating problems. So every night I spend 10 or 15 minutes. I put some cool music on or a interesting podcast. I've been listening to a lot of Your Mom's House. It's a comedy podcast with what's his name? Bert Kreischer. It's freaking hilarious. It's really funny. But again, I just smoke some weed. I do a little stretching, 10, 15 minutes. But I would never, ever do the stretching if I didn't understand why I had to be doing it, if that makes sense. And this is why I really stress the educational aspect of things. Because if you know something, you know it. And it can't be taken from you. If you know biomechanics, you know the Brig 20 and the best movements, it can't be taken from you. And you can perform them anywhere in the world at any time. Oh, you don't know this yet. Sorry. Big thing I talk about on my channel is portable gym and how to perform these everywhere and stuff. But this is why I say you don't need gyms. You don't need trainers. You don't need these things. You need information and you need knowledge. So this is what I love about you is you've prioritized your knowledge. You're a vegan. You're like, it's going to be hard. You got somebody to help you. You got a coach who knew biomechanics. You knew what you wanted and you got the people in place to get you there. I love that. That is exactly what you got to do. But we do got to wrap this up. I think we're absolutely going to have you back, right? I don't want to hold you pinky promise, but can we have you back on one of these days?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, sir.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear more about you. We got to have you on the Adapt and Overcome podcast. You got to meet Matt. He's going to love you.
Yeah.
But could you please tell us where to find you, all of your links and anything else you want to say, please? I'm a big fan of yours already. So please, anything you could tell us.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. This was awesome. And I've learned a ton on this. Thanks for having me again. This was awesome. And I've learned a ton on this show already. So I'm looking forward to, doing something like it again or others, whatever. Instagram, Travis Clay Wells, Facebook, Travis Wells. That's where you can find me. So
we're going to get off here, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're going to chat some more in a second, I think. But thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Please make sure you follow Travis. Give him your support because guess what? He's doing what a lot of you guys want to be doing. You don't have the balls to be doing. So get after it. Follow Travis. He seems like a great guy. I'm pretty sure I'm going to absolutely be having him back. Stay on your grind. You have to do the work. Nobody can do it for you. I can only give you the information. I hope it does not just go in one ear and out the other ear. Make sure that you take notes on this stuff, mental notes, physical notes, okay? Just whatever you want, take the notes, do the work. Can't do it for you. Travis can't do it for you. We can just encourage you and tell you to do it. But you got to make the decision to make your lives better, guys. So that's on you. Everybody, have a great day, and thanks so much for tuning in.
'Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So so you can go kick rocks. I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay, cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency, a message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me, respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy, hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe, I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say, yeah, I'ma do shit my way, so you can go kick rocks. I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say, yeah, I'ma do shit my way, so you can go kick rocks. I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my